Hi folks, how are you doing? An interesting round in the Tata tournament today, in which we saw Aronian from Armenia winning once again. He's really on fire. He's having probably tournament of his life, and this time he won against Karjakin, and he's the absolute leader and probably will win the tournament. We saw some other interesting games. For instance, Wesley saw winning his game, etc. But I think here I'm going to focus in one of the probably the most shocking game of the tournament so far, and the most shocking game for me in between super GMs in lots of times. We're gonna see a 2700 plus player losing with white in less than 20 moves, and it's being a very tough tournament for Arkady Naiditsch from Germany. He's losing one game after another. He's very far from his real level of playing, hoping he can really recover his confidence soon. But in this game, he's really going to show us very little of his true level, and a very tough and very painful defeat for him in less than 20 moves with white pieces. He's going to lose to play this game against Harikrishna from India. So let us see. D4, knight f6, and knight c3. As he's not having success with almost anything he's playing, so he goes with a fresh mind and says, let's play some chess, see what happens, let's play like if we're amateurs or something. So of course knight c3, not the most common move here. The c pawn is not supposed to be good blocked here, but anyway. d5, probably the best response. Now bishop f4 and bishop f5. Black is absolutely fine. He's going to play e6, c6 or c5, knight d7 or knight c6, and in the opening at least he's not going to have any problem. Now f3 is played, intending to play e4, but as we will see, this is not going to happen. So white is going to have lots of troubles developing his pieces, coordinating, and he will rely on a quick attack on the king side, as we'll see with queen d2 and long castle, but this will never really happen, and his own king will be checkmated very soon. e6, just defending the pawn on d5, letting the bishop on f8 play. Queen d2, and as I said, he's going to rely on a long castle, and as soon as black castle's short on the king side, launch a quick attack with g4, h4, and try to checkmate black very soon. Of course, if this was a good idea or if this was effective, everybody would play this. So this is a little bit like gambling, not really recommendable to do this at home if you're not a GM. As we will see, a 2700 plus GM sometimes also does not follow the rules, and he gets punished hardly. Bishop e7, now long castle. At this point, Harikrishna played a very intelligent move, knight c6, developing another move and just waiting for the time being. Probably castling is not bad either, but now he's giving white more reasons he's justifying white's strategy, because now g4, bishop g6, h4 comes with tempos, and although this shouldn't be very bad for black, he should be able somehow to defend it. He has developed lots of pieces, but now white definitely has the initiative and black must be careful. So this is giving white all the reasons to do this in the next game, so probably giving him too much initiative and too much of a target with this king on the king side. So castling so far probably wasn't the best, so knight c6, very correct. And now queen e1, trying once again to go for e4, but now this is undeveloping a piece which was already developed. We know this is not good generally, and here it is not good either. So probably another way to playing was to play g4, bishop g6, but after h4 black has h6, and probably black is still a little bit better because white hasn't have that much impressive development or anything, so, and doesn't seem that his kingside attack is going to be successful. So after queen e1 was played bishop g6, another very intelligent move, prophylactic against all kind of e4 g4 breaks. So he just puts the bishop on g6, reminding white that white doesn't have development, so he must choose what to do here. Knight h3, okay, develops a piece, but that isn't the most impressive square in the world for that knight. Instead, an alternative was probably e4. Not sure if better or worse. After takes, well, black probably has to castle, and white has a great center, but lacks lots of development, so black shouldn't have much problems with correct moves to hold the game at least. Instead, here taking the knight would be a mistake, because now knight b5, the knight is pinned, it cannot move, the rook would take the queen, and now it is attacked both with the knight and the rook, and at the same time the knight and the bishop on f4 are attacking here on c5, so this is already suddenly an unpleasant position for black, and this is more or less for this kind of tricks that white was playing. Now c5 to defend the knight, but now knight c7 check, forking the king and the rook, and this is ugly for black, really ugly, so not necessary to get into these tricks. So knight h3 was played, and now black castles, because now h4 is not possible after g4, for instance, so white isn't that fast attacking on the king side, so black will be in time to develop his own initiative, his own counterplay. Knight f2 is played to relocate better that piece, but now really, I mean, with this lack of development, moving the piece twice, but it's really at this point hard to suggest good moves to white, so knight h5, another good move, attacking the bishop on f4, and white has a couple of places to move it. For instance, bishop g3 would be followed probably with knight b4, attacking there. On c2 we're gonna see this idea in some of the variations. This is a very common idea. Now probably e4 and maybe something like c5, and with a very sharp play, but I tend to think that this would probably favor black in almost every occasion, because his development is simply much better. Instead, bishop e5 was another possibility, and now once again lots of possibilities, but okay, now black must be also careful, because knight b4, here knight d3 is available to block that attack. Now I mean f6 is suggested by the engine, c5 is more human probably, and if d takes, bishop t takes, e takes. Now as I said, is black who must be careful, he can't get too greedy with the attack, because for instance d4, knight d4 taking on a2 probably not that great, because lots of cases g4 is coming, so king b1 attacking, queen d5, g4, and well, black has just too many knights spread through the board, and probably white doesn't have that much problems here. He could even be better, so black must be careful not to get too greedy, but it was, well, with some correct and careful play, it isn't really too hard to hold at least a little of advantage in almost any line. Instead, Naiditsch played bishop e3, and now these pieces of white really looking, I don't know, ugly, uncoordinated, lazy. No, I don't know how to even say it, but this can't be good. This simply cannot be good. And black finally goes ahead with this knight b4. His idea of attacking c2 with both pieces, it's only protected with the king, and it's really tough to play this with white. I just can't imagine Naiditsch demoralized here, having this much problems with white in just 10 moves. A really hard day in the office for Arkady for sure. He played rook d2, but anyway, I mean, this is bad, but what to play? Knight d3 was possible, but this leading to lots of lines which probably favor almost always to black. For instance, takes, and now e5 is the idea, because if d takes e5, d4 always forking, although there are some intermediate moves like g4, black always has resources, for instance bishop h4, attacking the queen, and now queen e2, and you take on c3, because if for instance white takes on h5, c takes b2 check, and king b1 has to be played, otherwise king takes b2, queen d5, attacking checkmate in a couple of moves. And if c4, queen takes c5 check, say d4, queen takes h5, well, black is up pawn, but which is something much more important. He has absolutely much better coordination and development, and white pawns are scattered around. His king is weak, so this can't be good for white in any way. But anyway, 11 rook d2 was played, and now c5, breaking into the center. Is already looking really horrible for white. g4, knight f6, h4, and here knight d7. The knight will be relocated to the queen side to help in the attack. And really h5 is not a great threat here. For instance, it wasn't played. I mean, f4 was played here, which is probably not good either. But h5 was if h5 was played here, black was going to take with the knight, not with the bishop, and we're gonna see the difference right now. With the knight, you're attacking both the queen and the bishop. The bishop cannot be defended, so white just has to take, and well, this is looking really ugly for white. After e5, these central poles are going to roll down. Instead, of course, if queen d1, this is just a free piece, and the queen must go back. And the difference is that if h5, bishop takes c2, white is probably a little bit better than in the previous variation we just saw, because he doesn't have to take just right now, because it's not forced, at least not as forced as taking with the knight. So probably Naiditsch saw this. It played f4, tried another line, but now bishop f6. This bishop is in a good diagonal. Queen d1 was played here, but I mean, just probably protecting a little bit on the d file against pawn advances after captures. But these are all really looking really grim, really dark for white already. Another option was to play, for instance, f5, but now black can allow tactical intermediate moves, queen b6, and if f takes, c takes d4, protected by both the bishop and the queen. And well, now if bishop takes, and now the f2 knight is under fire, so this is really a tough day for white here. So after queen d1, knight b6, this knight is going to do a great job here. He's got a nice little square here on c4, which could be very, very useful. Once again, d takes c5 was played here, and one just to we gotta take a look at h5, because it seems it's trapping the bishop, because now, I mean, the queen is also defending c2, but here black had this nice knight c4 move, and the bishop cannot move or be defended in a logical way. So if h takes, knight takes, attacking the queen e1, c takes d4, and I'm attacking with both knights the c2 pawn. The knight is under attack, so this once again seems to be very, very bad for white. So after d takes c5, which is what happened in the game, just Harikrishna gets the job done quickly with bishop takes, intermediate c takes b6, taking the knight, because otherwise if b takes c3 now, knight takes a2 check, king b1 is relatively better, because if king b2, knight takes c4, knight c4 check, and white is going to be checkmated in a couple of moves. So king b1, but anyway, is going to lose at least the queen here, so no, it would make no sense to play this if you're seeing that you're going to be checkmated or losing the queen immediately. So taking on c3 immediately wasn't good at all. So now Arkady takes on b6 and an intermediate move, but now this is pretty easy job for black, because now the rook on the a file is also doing a great job there, joining the attack. Now b takes c3, knight takes a2 check, king b2, and after queen d6, with the unstoppable threat of going in with the queen to a3 and checkmating white just in a couple of moves, Naiditsch had enough and resigned the game. And well, really an amazing game, the most spectacular and defeat it's the super GM for a super GM I have ever seen, probably in lots of years. So this it's really not common at all to see 2700 plus rated players to lose this fast and this spectacular way, which is more shocking with having white pieces, which is supposed to be easy to make a draw when you're white at this top level. But anyway, really tough tournament for Arkady Naiditsch. Hope he will recover his real level, and hoping he will show us his real games, his real strength very soon. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.